De Niro is surprisingly fascinating as an actor. We have the scene coming up, and it takes place in a restaurant. And because we had made a bunch of, changes along the way, and we're getting to this particular scene, we're about half hour away from shooting. I realized we have covered a lot of these elements in earlier part of the movie, and then the scene is going to be rather redundant. So we're half away from ready to shoot. And I tell this to Bob. I said, so I think we got to find, you have to find something else here to put in here. And what about if she starts asking you about when you were younger, when you were a kid, and we'll build on that. And rather than going, I don't know, I got to do, I say, yeah, let's see where that goes. Let's see where that goes. And I talked to the actress, and that scene in the restaurant.
Did you give them actual pages or just?
No pages, not. Why don't you ask him about when he was younger and then mention this and mention just little.
Such a more fun way to make a movie.
It was, she was on top of it like that, and Bob is playing off of her. And I think it's one of the, the better scenes in the movie, but it came about because Bob is willing, like, well, we can't shoot that today. I got to think about it. I have to whatever.
No,
he jumped into it and went with it.
Did you shoot all the sequences when he was in one character in a row so that he wouldn't have to get out of that and back it? No, so he could do like the one guy in the morning and the other guy in the afternoon?
Yeah. Or in some cases, it would have to be the next day because we had to redo everything. But it was not like, let's do all this and then we'll come back. Here's what's so amazing about him. We'll get together at lunch when there's certain scenes and we'll go over it and talk about it, So maybe if I said a little thing about that and mentioned the so-and-so, say, yeah, that's fine, we'll do that. I'll mention that. And then, I think maybe we need a little something, that kind of conversations we would have. And he was right there with it. So we would do, generally, you would have to come back the next day because the setup for doing, like walking into the candy store, that he's going to come in, and then he walks and he sits down, and then he has that dialogue. And then the next day, we'll basically track it from now he's the other character and follow him in and do all of that. So one day one, and the next day the other, because it would take too much time to do the makeup and to reconfigure everything else. And that's the way he did it, throughout the film.